What's up YouTube, this is Jabber Tech, and today is the day I'm giving you my full review and final thoughts on the LG V30 and specifically the LG V30 Plus, which I have right here. Really there's no difference other than the internal storage, so they're about the same device. Let's get right into this LG V30 review, and I'm going to tell you why you should skip the LG G7 and just buy the V30 instead. So let's go over the specs of this really quickly. This phone happens to be the unlocked V30 Plus. So this one has 128 gigabytes of storage. The regular V30 has 64 gigabytes of storage, and this one has zero bloatware. Supposedly should get updates a lot faster than your carrier branded versions as well. But both versions will have the same 6-inch OLED panel. It has the Snapdragon 835 processor, 4 gigabytes of RAM, and then you also have a choice of 64 gigabytes of storage or 128 gigabytes of storage if you get the V30 Plus. You also have wireless charging, Quick Charge 3.0. There's the beloved headphone jack right on the top with the quad DAC that we all love to say we have. And then you also have IP68 water and dust resistance, which is a must these days for any flagship phone. You have that wide angle lens on the back as well as the standard angle. So for me, the main draw of LG phones is that wide angle camera, and it just makes shooting videos and photos so much more enjoyable. You get a lot more in the shot. And we'll go over the camera a little bit later on in this video, but the V30 is an absolute winner. It's an absolute beast. Of course, you're going to have tons of fun using this. Let's go over some of the main things that you might consider when purchasing this phone, and that might be battery. So battery life is definitely a ton better than the LG G6. You can definitely make it through a full day, but I'd say you're not really going to make it past more than that. And that's pretty much true with any smartphone these days. So figure at the end of the night you'll have about 20% or less, but it will make you through the entire day, so you don't have to worry about that. But if you do run out of juice, you do have wireless charging. Now, unfortunately, it's not fast wireless charging. It's just regular wireless charging, so it does take a little time. But you do have that Quick Charge 3.0, which tops you up in about 15 minutes. You'd be able to get through the rest of your day. So you don't have to worry about battery life on this thing. The processor, 835, has been really snappy. Now, I have noticed a little bit of stuttering from time to time. It's nothing that I can reproduce on command, but it does happen from time to time, and I think it really has to do with the skin being a little heavy, so sometimes it does get tripped up. Is that really a big deal? I'd say no, because it doesn't happen all the time, just from time to time, so it's nothing that will happen on a daily basis for you. Now, the screen is an absolute joy. I've really enjoyed using the screen. No problems whatsoever with this screen, and let me just show you the little quality of it. The 4K screen on this has been really enjoyable, and it really has been a great screen. There's not really much of a tint going on. Definitely not as bad as the Pixel phones, but it does happen with OLED panels, so no issues with this at all. I've really enjoyed it. The blacks are black. The colors are colorful, etc., etc. Really no issues with the screen. I think you'll be very happy with it. And at 6 inches, it's definitely enough that you can watch a video and not really be squinting to try and see what you're watching. So thumbs up to LG. This is a great screen, and it does get bright enough in sunlight, so you're not going to have to really boost that up way too much. It really does a good job. And speaking of boosting up the screen, I did notice that the auto brightness takes a little bit long to adjust. That's also just something to take note. It's not super instantaneous. It does take a split second to readjust. Let's talk about the main reason why you buy this phone, and that's for the camera. I will be doing a separate video on the camera because it definitely deserves it, and it's a really great camera. Now, is it the best camera on the market? It definitely is not. There are a lot of phones that beat it. Even though the camera is not the best of the best, just being able to get more in a shot makes it super enjoyable to use. So just taking a look at my backdrop here, that's the standard view, and if you click to wide view, you get a ton more in the video, or in your photo. So the camera to me is definitely why you'd want to pick up an LG phone, and this is one of the main reasons why I still carry an LG phone around. It's for that wide angle camera. And now you do have this introduction of the AI cam, and it does a decent job. It really tries to figure out what's in the scene. And to me, it definitely applies some nice filters to get some better shots. If you want to see more shots, go over to my Instagram page and you'll see a lot of shots. I tend to post a lot of shots there from my V30 just because it's a lot more enjoyable to use, and I really enjoy what comes out of this camera. If you're a social media person and you like to post or just look on your phone and you're not really blowing it up and inspecting every single pixel on your computer, You will not be disappointed with this camera at all. And let me just show you a few shots while I continue talking about it. So the wide angle camera definitely makes this a win, and it's really tough to stop using. My dream phone would be a Samsung or a Pixel phone. Just to be honest with you guys, a Samsung or a Pixel phone that introduced the wide angle lens. I really don't use telephoto lenses all that often. I'd much rather a wide angle, but that's just me personally. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Are you more of a telephoto or a wide angle type of person? Again, for me, I'm more of a wide angle type of person. And of course, with the V series phones, you have a ton of options here that you can do. And again, I will be having a separate video on all of these, so make sure to watch for that. But the camera gives you a ton of options, especially if you are a pro. If you know how to play with the pro mode settings, you will not be disappointed with this camera. But for most of us like me and like you, I just do auto, and I have not been disappointed with the shots that have come out of this. Really, really enjoyable camera. And again, this offers a little wider field of view versus the G7. So I would say this is still your better choice. You get a lot more in the shot. But enough about the camera. I will be doing a separate video on that, so make sure to watch out for that. Just to let you know, this camera rocks. It's awesome. Definitely no issues with that at all. The one disappointment I have with this phone, that is the speaker quality. The speaker quality on this phone definitely is not the best. It's actually, I don't want to say pretty bad, but it is not really that good. Let me show you a sample. Indicator showing just about where you are. So if you do reach that red line, maybe you want to sit down and take a little rest. You're getting a little too heated. It's a basic speaker, really nothing to write home about. Will it do the job? It'll do the job. But if you want a little bit more sound, you definitely want to look elsewhere if that's important to you. Speakerphone on this is also not the best. It's really not that loud. I tend to have a hard time listening to people on speakerphone when I'm outside, but thankfully the earpiece does a good job and it is loud enough, so no issues with that at all. Another gripe that I'll have, and I'm going to show you, the fingerprint scanner is definitely not the fastest. Let me show you here on camera. You can see there it took about a second. Let's do that again. You see that again, one more time. So it takes a little bit of a second before the fingerprint scanner actually recognizes your finger and turns on the screen. Again, having this rear-mounted fingerprint scanner / power button, by the time I get this phone out of my pocket, the screen is already on. So you tend to train yourself how to get this to turn on just when you need it to. But if you're looking for the fastest bragging rights on a fingerprint scanner, look elsewhere. And that was really the same with my LG G6. It wasn't really that fast. Again, if you want a super fast fingerprint scanner to brag about to your friends, look elsewhere. This is not the phone for you. And then lastly, I want to talk about the quad DAC. Quad DAC on this phone, although I have not been able to test it. Unfortunately, I don't have some super powerful headphones. But the main takeaway here is it does have a headphone jack. That's really all we care about these days. Now, do I use a headphone a lot? I'd say I use it 2 times out of 5, just because I use Bluetooth more and more these days, but it is nice to have there, especially when in a car or when your Bluetooth headphones crap out on you in the middle of the day. So the headphone jack, definitely a plus. So that's really been it, guys. I highly recommend the V30 or the V30 Plus. I really think LG should have stuck with their plans and scrapped the G7 and went to the drawing board again, just because I don't think they offered anything new, anything enticing at that $700 price point. If the G7 had come out for a $500, maybe $550, call it OnePlus 6 pricing, I think they would have had a huge hit on their hands. But at $750, it really doesn't match up to the big boys. And when I say the big boys, I'm really talking about Samsung and Pixel these days, because the Pixel phones have definitely upped their game. That camera on the Pixel phone is still hard to beat. But at $750 for the G7 versus, say, $400 for this one, I'd say the V30 will get you through the next couple years without any issues. Definitely no issues there. This is what the G6 should have been as well. 835 is fast. The 6-inch panel, while definitely is not on the level of Samsung panels, LG did a good job with it. A really enjoyable screen to use. Headphone jack is great. I would say go with the V30. The V30 is an absolute beast. The V-Line has always been their flagship, their true flagship in my opinion. But let me know what you guys think in the comments below. But for me, the V30 and V30 Plus is an absolute win, and I highly recommend it. So let me know in the comments below what you think, and I really appreciate you guys watching. Thumbs up and subscribe so you don't miss my camera shootout with this versus the S9 Plus. And until that video comes, I'll catch you guys in the next one.